Coca-Cola has been cocaine-free for more than a century. But could the sugars and caffeine in colas be similarly addictive? In research conducted using animals and people, sugars and caffeine independently induce symptoms of dependence and withdrawal. Both substances encourage habitual daily use. Although they could have a greater effect in combination, practically everyone likes the taste of sugars, some more than others, and foods high in sugars have been shown to activate reward systems in the brain.
And new science proves that sugar is biologically addictive. In fact, it's 8 times as addictive as cocaine.
Addictive factors act on the brain reward system and dopamine is produced. Then we feel pleasure and great.
But whether pleasure, liking, desire, and reward constitute addiction remains a hotly debated question. Studies aim to discover whether the feelings that some people develop when they eat sugar or consume sodas meet the criteria for true addiction. If the effects of sugars on the brain are similar to those of psychoactive drugs, it would be easier to explain why people overeat and gain weight. Researchers have induced laboratory animals to prefer sugar to cocaine under some conditions. Addiction researchers are especially interested in sodas because they contain another potentially addictive substance, caffeine. The caffeine in sodas is low, less than 40 milligrams in a 12-ounce serving, but that may be enough to stimulate dependence, especially in combination with sugars. Although manufacturers say they add caffeine as a flavor enhancer, experiments prove otherwise. People cannot detect a taste difference between sugar-sweetened cola drinks with and without caffeine. The caffeine is there for a different purpose. It makes people enjoy drinking the product even more than does sugar on its own. At least one study found that the addition of even small amounts of caffeine to sugary drinks makes people drink more of them.
Everyone needs caffeine sometime.
Caffeine is a drug, don't you know?
Moderate amounts of caffeine stimulate the central nervous system and make people feel more alert, energetic, and cheery, although high doses induce anxiety and shakiness and interfere with sleep. Even though caffeine has stronger effects in children, some researchers consider the effects of moderate amounts on young children to be relatively innocuous. But addiction researchers believe that even small amounts of caffeine can induce symptoms of dependence in susceptible individuals. Some even view caffeine as a psychoactive drug. It is difficult to know how seriously to accept such views.
You have a little caffeine in the morning and I have a little morphine. So what?
In 2012, several young people died after consuming large amounts of heavily caffeinated, sugar-sweetened energy drinks.
In just 4 years, the number of people who go to the emergency room after drinking energy drinks has doubled.
Pressure goes up, heart rate goes up, and then they'll start to feel the effects. Heart racing, heart skipping, panic attack symptoms, irregular heart rhythms.
And the most popular energy drinks have less caffeine than that strong cup of coffee you buy out. So what's going on here?
There's other substances in them which are completely unregulated, which can add to the caffeine or the stimulant nature of the drinks.
While investigators were trying to decide whether the products or something else caused the deaths, the FDA released a long list of reported health problems associated with such drinks. The agency reminded everyone that when it said caffeine was generally recognized as safe in the 1950s, it intended that designation to apply only to cola drinks like Coke and Pepsi. Once manufacturers began adding higher amounts of caffeine to beverages as well as putting caffeine into foods such as Cracker Jack, jelly beans, gummy bears, brownies, and chewing gum, the FDA would have to reconsider the safety of such practices. The question of addiction is important to resolve. If sugars and sodas are addictive, advocates would be legally justified in insisting that they not be marketed to children.
But Mom, I need the caffeine badly.
Poor man's truth serum. Caffeine and sugar.
But whether these foods are addictive or not, people love the taste of sweetness. And the more the better, up to what the food industry calls the bliss point, the taste perceived as optimal by participants in sensory tests. And recognizable brand names also are reasons why so many people like sodas. Thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe.